Hi, I'm Brandon Jellison of Lavender Farm Wellness, and this week I wanted to share a bit about functional medicine, sort of how it came into my life and the huge impact that it had on mine and Ugne's lives and the inspiration that sort of brought it 10 years forward to today, where we're now able to offer those services. I thought it would be great to share a bit about functional medicine. It's not just a service, but there's a story behind it and why we're offering it and why we think it has a lot of value. About 10 years ago, I went to a place called the Ultra Wellness Center. It's out in Western Mass. It was recommended to me by a couple of clients. There's this well-known doctor, Dr. Hyman. He was the medical director at Canyon Ranch for a long time and then started this private practice. I didn't have any big problems with my health at the time. I was in my early 30s, I was active, I was like vegetarian during the week and maybe a little junk food on the weekends. So when they asked me if I needed to see the very well-known doctor who had a 6-month waiting list, or the other doctor, Dr. Boehm, who had a 3-month waiting list, I thought Dr. Boehm would be absolutely more than qualified to handle my simple situation. I got there. I was surprised. It was a very lengthy intake form, to be fair. I had never filled out 28 pages before going to a doctor's appointment. And when I got there, it was really, I felt very welcomed. And they spent a lot of time just like listening to me and doing some taking some basic vitals. And I learned that I learned a couple of things afterwards. They did some additional testing, which I knew was a potential part of it. Figuring that I was like a young 30-year-old, I didn't think they would actually probably want to do anything, but they were kind of concerned about my high blood pressure, and I had exhibited like dyslexia as a child, but was never diagnosed, and so they sort of were curious about that. And what turned out to be the reality after getting tests was that I had a recessive gene that kept me from processing B vitamins properly and gave me high blood pressure. So one of the tests helped me give me the information that I need to take a different kind of B vitamin, and if I do that, I don't have high blood pressure. And that was fantastic information. I definitely want to throw in that people who have high blood pressure don't just take B vitamins. This is sort of a very specific, targeted answer for my particular situation. And the other thing that came up was I had actually very high levels of mercury, which is a neurotoxin. And they shared with me that mercury toxicity can lead to dementia, heart disease, and a whole bunch of other really nasty things that I don't want in my future. And I sort of decided that even though it kind of seemed optional, because it wasn't actually causing a problem right now, but that I would really appreciate later on in life if I took care of this now. So there was a little protocol that they had where you took something for 4 days on and 10 days off, and you did a bunch of rounds of that, and saunas and it was actually fairly detailed. And they did some retesting and watched the levels come down quite a bit, and then did it again for a little while, and everything came down to very low levels. I was able to just get the tests at the local hospital here on Nantucket, and it was all quite simple. There was one of the tests I did while I was there, then they mailed off, and so it was great. It was absolutely amazing how valuable that information was, even looking back 10 years ago. because I was able to make some really clear decisions about my health, and also begin to understand like where Mercury can show up in my life. And maybe I had some big exposure to it when I was younger. It's hard to say. It could also be that I might just have the genes that isn't good at getting rid of those things. So I've made changes in my lifestyle so that that's less of a problem. I don't eat tuna or other like high-end predators when I go to, I love sushi, but I just skip those on the menu. So that's sort of 10 years ago, and then shortly after that I was like, this could really make a big difference for other people. We went to an IFM workshop on like functional medicine and nutrition, my wife and I did, and she was really blown away. She was just getting back into school and was thinking about medical school, and that really began to shape her undergraduate and then graduate training. Like while she was studying biochemistry, she was also doing functional medicine workshops on the, I wouldn't say that they were like on the weekend or whatnot, but during her free time while she was in school. And like over the course of like the last 7 years, she's done all those workshops, and then the final case exam and all that jazz to sort of be thoroughly trained. And now that's something that she can offer to other people. So I'm just remarkably proud of her and the amount of information that she's consumed and the ability to process that information and listen to people and really help in this really effective way. It's incredibly valuable. It's been incredibly valuable for me, and I just know that people even will come and will get this service, and then years and decades beyond, they'll continue to be benefiting from it. So I was having tea with a friend of mine today, and they're sort of going through their January New Year's resolution diets and ideas and trying to like tighten things up after the holidays. And they're like, well, what do you eat? And I was like, do you eat meat? Do you eat this and that? I was like, well, yeah, I do. I eat meat. What we do at our house is we give a lot more attention to the cleanliness of the food that we do eat at this point. There's like this elimination diet that's really key in the functional medicine world, where you're taking out foods to sort of one by one figure out which ones you might be more sensitive to. I don't want to say like allergic, but like ones that you just don't metabolize quite as well. And you sort of go through this manual process of eliminating them and then adding them back in one by one. And when you add them back in one by one, you can sort of feel the difference that it makes. Like I remember I did a really clean diet for like 6 weeks. So in this case, it meant like not just no like white sugar, white flour, but like no gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, corn, forgetting the sixth one. There's like the 6 major food allergens, nothing fried, all that kind of jazz for like 6 weeks. And then it was over and I was like, I'm gonna celebrate. And at the time I was living in Brigham Circle up in Boston, and there was this little Irish pub called the Squealing Pig. And I was like, I'm gonna go down to the Squealing Pig, I'm gonna have like a lamb burger with tzatziki sauce on it, and it's gonna be amazing. And I went down and I ate like half of it, and then I was starting to feel like woozy, and I went back up to my apartment on the hill, Mission Hill, and I felt like somebody had just like punched me in the gut. And I laid down and I sat down on the couch for a minute, and then I fell asleep, and I woke up about 45 minutes later feeling like hungover. And it was just kind of, as the basic takeaway was like, it was like, don't do that again. And it kind of like brought it to my head. I was like, okay, so there's all these like bacteria in your stomach and everything like that that's needed to digest those things, and just how sensitive you can become. And like how when I eat these things on a regular basis, like it's so hard for me to sort of notice all the little signals that my body is trying to give me. And then that having that really clean slate for a while, really just my own experience became like how I learned what to do and what not to do as far as a lot of my dietary choices. Like that ability to have a clean slate, you can listen to your body. It's like listen to your body if you feel like, and you can, and it's there to sort of help you. It'll let you know when you're thirsty. But just calming all those signals down, enjoying decaf coffee to like interrupt that caffeine that can just sort of become sort of so ubiquitous in our culture, taking breaks from alcohol and sugar. It's just like ubiquitous in the holidays and in our culture. Just those interruptions are so helpful, and so having like a structured way to do that is great. So my kitchen, the kitchen and the pantry, I guess the pantries and the refrigerators look very different today than they did 10 years ago. We do have waffles at the house. We let the kids eat a lot of things. They get a little bit more of a free rein. They can just kind of consume calories. But they're definitely on the healthier side, and you notice it in the kids. Like when they get too much sugar, like when we go to the grandparents' house, we try not to pay attention, and we try not to be overbearing and just let them have whatever they have, so they get those free breaks. My parents are very aware of it. That you just really can watch how that sugar plays out in kids, because they metabolize it so quick. Like you can see their attention span change, their excitement levels, or it goes up and down. It's just like, wow. I'm, as an adult, probably like on a more graduated version of that, but that's happening to me too. And it's hard to notice like when you're in it. It's quite interesting that way. So those are some things I wanted to share with you. So we're offering functional medicine services, or Ugne really is, and then all the wellness services that we have here really also support the lifestyle around that, because the two are just so key. If there was, I like to say, if there was just one, service or product that like made everybody healthy, that's probably what we would do. But there isn't. It takes a lot of approaching it from a lot of different angles, and so that's sort of what we're all about here at Lavender Farm. So thank you so much. Enjoy. So if you like what you're hearing here and want to learn more about having a healthy lifestyle, subscribe to our channel, Lavender Farm Wellness, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks so much. Have a great week.